Merry meet to all. This is Iron Queen
and Sirena.
This is our first ever little video. So this is a very sort of short little video that we've decided to do in order just so that you get to put a face to the people that are your admins on this page and we get to talk to you. We've jotted some notes down so that we don't forget what we want to say.
We're all a bit nervous, first video and all. Okay, so I guess we can start with where we're from. We're both living in Sydney at the moment. I live at home with Iron Queen over here.
Well, my real name is Janet.
And my real name is Rhiannon. And we're both living in Sydney, in New South Wales, in Australia, for all our overseas friends.
Yes, go on.
I was born here and raised here, and Janet was born in Uruguay and moved
Tell them about you.
Okay.
She's the wonderful her.
The wonderful me. I don't know. I don't feel very wonderful most of the time. I was raised in a pagan household, so I've been pagan for as long as I can remember. Clearly. What to say? I guess I've been very vocal about my paganism since I was about 2.5. I have had really strong opinions about being able to be proud of who you are and not having to hide who you are from anybody. I'm not overly impressed with the idea that anybody needs to be silent about who they are. But as I've gotten older, I've come to terms with the fact that some people really can't come out and share that information with everybody instantaneously. So that was a really hard lesson for me to learn, I think.
And for me, I think I was very attuned to being of the craft from very, very young. But I think being in a very Catholic household, being denied where I came from for many years, I had to do my own self-growth, and that took a long time. And later on in years, as that went past, my parents both sort of said, oh yeah, you do have a background in witchcraft, but it's not acceptable to be who you are. So it took the birth of Rhiannon for my mother to sort of accept that she would see things and she would speak of things that weren't really of this world, and she wasn't ready to accept. She's still not accepting of who I am, but that's okay. I've moved on from that. Instead of staying in that negative zone, I've raised both my girls in a very pagan household and able to express themselves and deal with magic at a different level. So all questions that they had, I try to answer the best way and the most honest way that I possibly can. There's nothing that's forbidden, really. And there's no path that should be blocked. I mean, if they wanted to be Muslim tomorrow, then that would be fine with me. Catholic, that would be okay with me. Whatever spiritual path they wish to undertake to get them there, that's okay. I just think it's the path that gets you there rather than the end result. So I'm really happy with who they are, and I tend to use magic for everything that I do. It's not I set aside a time to do this. I really like to get into it and weave magic in my garden, in my house, in my cooking. I'm very much I think attuned to the hedge witch. Although there's parts of me that are very eclectic because I've collected throughout all these years. You know, I've collected bits and pieces of knowledge and put it all together, and this is what's the result is who I am in the end. But we're quite connected as mother and daughter. We study together. We're doing a university course together. So we spend a lot of time
Working together.
Yeah, working together. You know, around the kitchen is our centre of the household and what we do.
We spend a lot of time in the dining room. A lot of late nights working on posts for you guys are done at the dining room table.
And this page was put together as a bit of extra fun for us. It was never meant to be let's educate people out there. It was about us
about
being okay with ourselves and who we are, and just being able to talk about how we practice our craft every day and being okay with that, and letting some of our friends share that with us, because our friends have had a lot of questions that they pose. You know, what does it mean to be a witch? What sort of rituals do you do? Why do you celebrate different things to us?
Yeah. And a lot of our friends aren't pagan. A lot of our friends are either very religious or not religious at all.
Well, they're all very religious, but Christian, she means.
Yeah, well, I suppose. I'm going out with somebody who's agnostic, so he's not religious in that sense at all. And he has a lot of questions on a regular basis, and I think that this page is a really good way to express that part of me without having to take away from any other time that I'm spending with everybody else.
And what else? Well, I've travelled lots as a young girl. So I was born in Uruguay in South America, and from there my parents travelled into Mexico. So we spent 3 months in Mexico waiting for our papers to sort of be done to cross the border over into USA, and I lived in New York City for 6 years. So we lived New Jersey, New York, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, all those suburbs. My mother moved around a lot. And then we went back to South America. We spent 6 months in Brazil. It was a beautiful country. I didn't get the opportunity to learn the language. I only know a few words. But the reception there was fabulous. But my mother really wanted to go back to Uruguay. She was born on the border of Brazil and Uruguay, so she really wanted to cross over and go back home and spend time with with her mother, and that she did. We spent 4 years in Uruguay, and then we travelled back to Australia. Well, not back to, but we came to Australia from there. Just the 4 of us, and all our sort of immediate family was stayed overseas. I've never been back to Uruguay, although one of my aunts has been here twice now, and she's visited us, and that's about it.
I haven't travelled at all. I haven't gone anywhere really. I think the furthest I've travelled to Queensland for a week. It wasn't even a week, it was 3 days. And, I enjoyed myself quite thoroughly while we were up in Queensland. My best friend and I flew for her birthday. We enjoyed that very much, but I think that's as far as I've gotten in travel. So I've spent all of my time in Sydney, being raised around other people in Sydney. I think my biggest travel move was moving schools from one school to another.
And we enjoy doing lots of different things in our practice. I really like to meditate. I find it very easy to get into meditation. And last year it was a very sort of trying year for my youngest. So she has multiple disabilities. She's profoundly deaf, as well as having Turner syndrome. Lots of little things for her to deal with, and it was her first year in high school. So we decided it would be a good thing to introduce her to some organised sort of meditation outside of home, so that she would go see other people, and she really enjoyed getting into the atmosphere of meditating and taking her own crystals along, and sort of being in that
zone.
yeah. So as a family, we're only 3 girls, but as a family we like to do all those sorts of things together. And
I think we're also very individual when it comes to the craft. We all have very specific individual ways of doing things. I'm not much of a talker about saying like a form of grace at the table. I'm not very big on that. I think that if you're going to respect what you're eating, then you should respect it internally. Nobody needs to know about it. I find that, saying grace in public is kind of rude. It's more of a showing off thing rather than, really feeling grateful for what you have, because if you're really grateful, then you don't need to tell everybody about it. And other people don't see it that way. And I know that I've been to a lot of people that are pagan. I've been to their houses, and they tend to say their own form of grace. And I think that that's a crossover of sorts between paganism and Christianity. There's kind of a meld there where a lot of people feel the need to include their higher power in everything that they do. I think that if you have your higher power with you all the time, you don't have to verbalize it all the time, because they're there. If you build that really good relationship and you feel connected, I use the earth as my higher power. I feel very connected to the earth and the animals and the grass and the trees, so I don't need to spend all of my time telling people how I'm connected to the earth and the ground and the trees. I just do it. And I find that a lot of people need an explanation or some sort of a guide, and I find that really hard to give because it's already there for me. I didn't have to go looking for it, it found me.
Okay, so with all that said, we're going to leave you there for now, and hopefully we'll bring some more little videos on different subjects.
Let us know what you'd like us to talk about.
Yes.
What would you like to hear about from us?
And we would like to share.
We're really happy to share ourselves with you at this point.
Right. And a very warm embrace to our beautiful one. She knows who she is.
Yes.
We love
she inspired
having
us.
Connected with her all the way from Queensland, and I hope that you're enjoying seeing us for the first time, as we have enjoyed seeing you many a time. So blessed be to all.
Thank you for joining us here.
Us. We are truly, truly humbled.
We are. We're completely amazed every day by the amount of growth and love that you're all showing for us.
So thank you.
Blessed be, guys.